Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining once again. Um, this is Tanita Abraham, aka Joyful Abraham of Building Legacies. Just coming on here today, once again, another week of Joyful's Tips to Financial Freedom. Um, want to go over just a couple of things regarding your 401k. A lot of people, most people, if they don't have any other retirement savings, they have a 401k. So I wanted to make sure that I shared a few inside tips regarding the 401k, some things you need to know in hopes to help you in your understanding your retirement savings a little bit better and the do's and don'ts. So in just a moment, we'll go ahead and start providing some information about that. But real quick, if you know me, you know I always have to check my technology because I just don't trust technology. So I want to make sure that we're streaming here. If you are on here, follow me. Definitely put a little quick comment uh, in the comments there. If you're a newbie here for the first time, definitely put newbie. If you have been here before, just give me a shout out live so I know that we are streaming properly here. And I will go ahead and get started in just a second. Looks like I'm showing up here. Awesome. Awesome. So, for those first timers, it is just a little bit about me, real quick. Almost with that. I am Tanita Abraham, owner of Building Legacies, which is a company that I started after leaving my job, leaving the industry of 20 years, from doing everything from being a trader. My first job, hey Latoya, thanks for joining. My first job was being a trader to the operations side to sales again to financial educator at my last employer. And obviously, with everything going on this year, I've always wanted to do more teaching and educating and selling. And so here we are. As most of you got into new business opportunities this year, I decided to jump on that as well. And there's no time like the greater to make some changes in 2020. So that's why we're here. Everything has been going well. Have some classes that are started, have some partnerships that are going, keeping me busy. But I will always be here every week to share the freedoms with God, and we will keep going. So, a couple of things. I want to give a couple of shout outs. As always, if you haven't followed me before, I am not a very, fashion forward type person or whatever, but have always been a glasses person. So, I have an addiction, as we all know, to eyeglasses. This week, I am wearing Rosara. It's also my favorite color, purple. And if you are interested in shopping and getting just some more upscale, if any of you guys wear glasses, you know glasses have been boring in the past. They are not anymore. So for those of you who are interested, definitely check out the VogueMe.com website. There's a coupon code available for you under my name, Tanita A. Information is in the comment. It's 15% off everything. And as we're getting into Black Friday and all those different sales, you definitely want to check it out because it's 15% also comes off of your sales price. So again, check that website out. Give me a shout out. Use that coupon code and get you some nice glasses. I believe these are $14 right now. They're actually on sale. So definitely jump on them. And they do come with or without prescription. If you want to get prescription in them, you can do it online or you can take them to Walmart after you buy them. So that's that. Other shout out I definitely want to give to my cousin, Tasha Abraham. I'm not sure if she's on here. I think she may be working. Some of you may have noticed Daddy's t-shirt last night. I have had people asking for t-shirts for the longest. So the t-shirts are now available. This one and some other ones that will be posted here soon. So if you're interested, t-shirts available. A lot of other products will be available and it's coming. So that is on the way as well. If you like our t-shirt. And of course, I have my company name on the front. And for my Bacchus crew, yes, I have my Bacchus on the back. I'll never forget y'all. Y'all know that. So that's that. That's a little bit of business shout out. Every week, I'm going to try to shout out shout out at least one business or partnership that I'm working with. So if we have done business together and I have not gotten to you yet, definitely let me know. Building Legacies is not just about sharing financial information. It's about helping everyone, business owners, everyone, ministries, things like that, that are building legacies, not only financially, but through entrepreneurship, through family ventures, everything in the future, for their future, because that's what we're all about. That's what we need to do. So we'll definitely just give me a shout out, shoot me a message, and we'll work together again in the future. Hey, Selena, you're always here. I appreciate you. So thanks for joining. And also don't forget to like, share this video. Definitely make sure you get everyone to join the Building Legacy sites. There's a whole lot of things I've been working on that is coming. And I have been tired. If you know me, my days start at 5 in the morning. They end usually around 11 because I have about 5 different businesses going on right now. Because I'm not trying to work anymore. So we got to do what we have to do. So there are a lot of opportunities coming. Not only am I looking to spread this information and get people where they want to be, we also provide extra income for other people as well. So stay tuned, because that is what I'm about. That's what my father taught me. Money is not to money, and reaching higher levels doesn't really have the same effect when you go there on your own, because it's lonely. So if you want to stay abreast of that, definitely keep in contact, keep in touch. This will be information with the Carolina Panorama newspaper, as well as some other information that'll be coming out through the Building Legacies website. So keep in touch, keep following us. The videos will be posted to, if you are able to follow us in the mornings, in the middays on Thursdays as well. They'll be shared again in the evenings as usual. So now, all of that's out of the way. Again, if you're a newbie, shout me out in the comments, #newbie, let me know where you're from. If you are a regular, like Selena, Christina, hey Christina, I already posted information about the glasses. Go ahead and check the website out, girl. You know what to do. But again, go ahead and just, if you have any questions, I am watching the comments as much as I can. I will be happy to answer questions live also. So definitely make sure that you put that in there and I will get to you. So now, what do you need to know about your 401k? Some of the questions that I'm asked the most regarding a 401k is just how to best understand it, how to best manage and get the most out of it, I would say. And that's some of the things I wanted to talk about this week. First thing, there's a lot of people now saying, take money out of your 401k. Your 401k is not worth it, things like that. And I would have to disagree to an extent. There are some benefits that you definitely don't want to miss. The opportunity is there. And there's a couple of things I just want to go over regarding that. First thing is about eligibility. So a lot of people don't realize that even if you are a new employee or part-time employee, that you still may be eligible to contribute to your 401k. And that includes 403Bs, all other, whatever entity that you're working in, your company sponsored plan. I'm just going to say 401k in totality. But even on a part-time basis, you still are, in a lot of cases, not all, but you still may be eligible to contribute to your 401k. So with that, definitely make sure that you reach out. Don't make assumptions, because there's usually exceptions. Even if it's not written in the plan, you can fight all the way and make requests with the plan administrator to get an exception. Been there, done that. It works. It may take some time, maybe a little frustrating, but in the end, most of your employers want you to save for retirement. Not only that, they get benefits for you as well, being a contributor than not, because especially if you're contributing a company match, while you're contributing to the 401k, they're able to make a contribution to the 401k on your behalf, which is a tax deduction for them. And this day and time, all companies, of course, are looking for any and every way to get that deduction. So you definitely want to do your best to make it a benefit for you. And you don't want to leave free money on the table by not contributing in your 401k. Because listen, if they're paying you to work, why not let them pay you to save? It's that simple. If they're paying you to work, why not let them pay you to save? If you just do the very minimum to get the match, the full match, hopefully, at least you're setting aside money, even if it's a part-time job. If you're setting aside 5% of your check and they're setting aside 5% of your check, your part-time job, you're not going to be there for long usually. So at the end of year, 2 years, summer, winter, whatever breaks that you're taking, working to get that extra money, that money can quickly be rolled over into your regular retirement plan, your IRA, and you can use that if you wanted to go into your own investing and trading. You can use that going to even further your opportunities for growth towards retirement. So, with that, I would never tell anyone to not contribute to their 401k because it's just another easy way of saving and securing your financial future, especially if you're not fluent in investing, which most people who are working, honestly, they're not, because you don't have the time to learn really the ins and outs of the market to take that kind of risk anyway. So at the end of the day, if you have a 401k, if you're eligible for a 401k and employer, don't not contribute just because. Do your best to put money in as much as you can, as often as you can. And if your company is allowing if your company is allowing a company match, definitely take advantage of that, because it's definitely gonna make a difference in the end every single time. Number two, you want to definitely understand what your contribution types mean. So when I say that, this is something I saw very often with people who are contributing to 401ks. Pre-tax contributions is the one, it's the first one, it's the most popular. Pre-tax contributions basically are you're putting money in your company sponsored plan. That dollar or dollars are reducing your taxable income. So just use, for example, I think I may have mentioned this before, but let's just say, just use for example, you only made let's say you made $100 for the year. And out of that $100, you put $10 in your 401k. The IRS believes that you made $90 because that $10 was never received in your pocket. It went straight to your retirement plan. So it's set aside as an investment for the future. So every dollar that you put in your 401k is reducing your taxable income for that year. So if you need a tax break, you don't have a whole bunch of kids to claim, your own home, whatever the case may be, 401k is reducing your taxable liability as well. So that could also contribute to, for those of you who don't get refunds, that's a way to kind of shelter some money for the future. So that's pre-tax. The two other types that get confused the most is Roth and after-tax contributions. You have to be careful with those. Both are after-tax, meaning that you put money in after taxes are taken out of your check, meaning there's no deduction to your taxes right now. However, those dollars in the future, you don't have to pay taxes on. So the benefit of that is, let's use the same example. Let's say you made $100 a year, you put $10 in. You're still taxed that year that you make those contributions on a Roth. You're still taxed on the full $100 that you made. However, we take that $10 that we put in the 401k, and let's say we did nothing else for the next 10 years, whatever the case may be, 20 years, 30 years, and did nothing else. And that $10 goes to the $100, $200. All those dollars that you gained on the $10 you started with over all of those years are now tax-free dollars you take out in retirement. So what that means is you basically are putting money in the account. You're paying the taxes when you're hopefully at a lower rate when you're starting the investment. And when you take it out retirement, you don't have to worry about tax dollars. It's being taxed on those dollars at all. So most people recommend that you do a combination of pre-tax and Roth if possible. You definitely want to speak to your tax advisor. However, the benefit of the Roth is that those dollars are tax-free, including the earnings. Now, where people get confused, and I hope you guys get off of this call if you have a 401k and go back and check your 401 contributions and make sure you're doing it right. A lot of people think Roth contributions and after-tax contributions are the same. They are not. I repeat, after-tax contributions and Roth contributions are not the same in your 401k. Your after-tax contributions do not have the same benefits that Roth do. Now, the main reason after-tax contributions are there, they're there because once you reach the contribution limit for your 401k, you're able to put in more money up to a certain limit. So currently, for example, the limit on 401k contributions is $19,500, with additional $6,500 if you're over 50. Now, let's say you're under 50 and you max out your contributions for the year 19,500. You can put an additional amount. I want to say 10,000, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But you could put an additional amount in the after-tax bucket. And when you go to take that money out in the future, you're only paying everything that you have in the after-tax portion of your 401k in retirement. You're only paying money on growth of those dollars. That's it. You're not paying money. It's not like the Roth, where the growth of those dollars you don't have to worry about paying taxes on. The after-tax section of your portion of your 401k contributions in retirement, you're actually paying money. You're actually paying taxes on the growth of those dollars. So there's really not much more benefit other than maybe access to some things in the 401k that it provides. There's really not that much benefit in after-tax contributions in your 401k as it's in having money in an outside plan. So I just want to make sure, because one of the things that I realized a lot of people, a lot of companies that a lot of employees at these companies that I work with in my past job, a lot of employees were contributing on an after-tax basis, or excuse me, in the after-tax portion of their 401k, not realizing that that's not the Roth. So you're not getting the full benefit of the after-tax dollars going into the plan. So you definitely want to make sure once you get off here, if you think you're doing Roth and you go and check your plan and it says after tax, it does not say after Roth after tax 401k or Roth 401k contribution, anything of those words, then you definitely want to change your contributions because you're not getting the full benefit for that you're looking for in the future. If you have any questions on that, I can help you with that. Just shoot me a message. But I don't want to make sure that's probably one of the most common things that I noticed when it came to Roth versus after tax with the employees of the companies that I worked for. And a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they still have to pay taxes and taking their money out in retirement or before. That's another conversation, but or before. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. Number 3, oh, hey, Laura, hey, David. Number 3, let me make sure I covered all of that. Oh, yeah, number 3, loans, 401k loans. Very, very popular, but also has some misunderstandings as well. Yes, you can take money out of your 401k. Yes, you're technically paying yourself back when you take money out of the 401k and put it back in. However, it doesn't work like most people think it does. So you have to realize when you're taking money out of your 401k, you're also usually, depending on the amount that you're taking out, it's a huge effect to the performance of your 401k over the years going forward, because what you're doing is, let's just say, for example, if you took $10,000 out of your 401k last year, or let's say 2018. So if you took $10,000 out of your 401k in 2018 and you're paying it back now at 4%, two things are happening that most people won't understand. The $10,000 no longer invested is taken out of those investments and put in what's considered like a shell account on the side. And as you pay your money back in, that, let's say you're paying $100 a month. So paying that $100 back into the plan, it goes from the shell account to be reinvested all over again in whatever the current price is as you're investing. So all those dollars that you the shares that you have bought leading up to 2018 at a much lower rate. If you think about how the market was just 2 years ago, you've lost all that opportunity for growth. You're starting over with that $10,000. So it's the main thing when it comes to loans is a lot of people think their money is still investing and grow is still investing, it's growing, and it's not. It's mostly only earning the 4%, maybe if it's 4% that you're paying back in. It's mostly earning just that. And so if let's say over the time frame, if you would have left that money in and your 401k earned 10% on that $10,000, if you would have left it in versus 4, it's a big difference. Not only that, part two is if you taking money out of the plan and there were pre-tax contributions, you're basically double taxed because as you're paying the money back in, you're paying money in with after-tax dollars out of your check. So in other words, you're basically taking it out of your pocket and putting it back in the plan, but you already paid taxes on that. Fast forward, we're going to take that money out in retirement. Guess what that money is going to happen? What's going to happen to that money? You're taxed when you retire. So in a sense, it's double taxed. So not something that you may necessarily feel. Not saying this is a complete turnoff from taking the money out, but it's something to think about. If it's not necessary, if it's not a full, let's say, emergency, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it because unless you are in a situation to make up for that or have the knowledge, especially trading knowledge and things like that, to offset what you're losing by taking the money out, I wouldn't do it. Go ahead and take the time to take the money out from other places. That's something I always recommend from other people. Take the money out from other places. You'll benefit better that way by having that money make more money for you in the long run. Another thing, a lot of people realize budget constraints. If you're already in a financial situation, you're taking money out of your 401k to pay your bills, especially in an economy like this, more than likely, you're still going to be worse off. And what's going to happen is the loan is going to default. And especially right now, if you lose your job or anything like that, your money is going to default and you're going to be in the same situation anyway. So just remember that if there are other options, definitely look at other options first and let that be, if you can, let that be only a need, a very important need basis. Another thing I wanted to mention, not necessarily in my notes here, but when it comes to taking money out, not necessarily for a loan, but taking money out of your 401k to buy a house, a lot of people get confused that the first time home purchase exception for retirement plans. They believe that it does include 401ks. It does not. Your 401k, if you take money out of your 401k to buy a home, it's no different than taking money out of your 401k to pay a hospital bill. You still get penalized for it. There's no exception for that. If you can, it's best to do that from an IRA. So if you're not already participating in the IRA, you think you may be needing money in the future or using money from the future in your retirement plan to take money out for a first-time home purchase. The only place you can do that without penalty, with the exception of this year, of course, because of the CARE Act. The only place you could do that this year without penalty is from your IRA. So you definitely want to make sure that you keep that in mind. If you take money out of your 401k using the hardship withdrawal for home purchase doesn't apply to avoid the penalty that the IRS gives when you're taking money out. It's still considered a premature withdrawal, so you'll still be penalized at 10%. So some of you who are thinking about taking money of your 401k this year for a home purchase, that's not an exception from your 401k. The exception for the penalty this year that is different from the past years is if it's related to COVID. That's it. That's the only exception you get for taking early withdrawals from your 401k. It has to be COVID related. Now, how you come to whatever that means for you, that's between you and your tax advisor and your employer. But For those of you who are looking for real estate opportunities and things like that, it's a conversation that took place not too long ago. You cannot take your money. There is no exception. There's no IRS regulation to taking money out of your 401k to buy a home and to avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty. Just keep that in mind. The only thing that's changed this year is for COVID-related issues, whether it's loss of work, those type of issues. Speak to your plan administrator to go over that, but that's the only option you have. We got about 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna wrap up the other things real quick. Vesting in your 401k. What does vesting mean? So a lot of companies, when you first start working there is what's called a vesting period, meaning you have to work there a certain amount of time before you're eligible for a company match or eligible to receive your money out. Couple of inside things with that. Let's say your vesting period is 3 years. You may be able to take money out within 3 years, but only take out what you put in, not your company match. So that means you lose those dollars if you're not there that long. So if you're thinking about contributing to your 401k, even on a part-time basis, and you're not eligible for the match in a certain amount of time, but you may not work there, then that may be something to consider, because you will not necessarily receive the company match if you quit early. So a lot of things to look into. Again, call your 401k customer service plan administrator, get some information about, just have a conversation about what your plans are with the 401k, and they'll guide you through their specific rules, because every 401k has their own rules, their own plan rules, and they differ. They're all governed by the same rules, but there's exceptions to what they can allow, or will allow, I should say, in the plans. So they still control your money in a sense, because they are administering the plan. So they can determine what you can and cannot do with the money that you contribute in that plan, including offering what investments to offer. Next week, we'll go over different types of investments in a 401k versus the options in an IRA. So we'll go over that next week. That's a longer discussion. And the last thing I want to talk about real briefly is regarding an article that came out, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, regarding the changes to 401k that could be coming. It hasn't been passed yet, but it's something that's being discussed, which is it may be next year. There are a couple of things that maybe come up. I want to say it was in a Forbes article. One, the required minimum distribution age for 401k. So for some of my seniors on the call or following my pages, now we may have realized, you should know that the requirement of distribution age for 401ks was raised, I want to say last year, from 70 and a half to 72. That only means that you are not required to take money out of your 401k or IRA until 72 if you're a certain age. Does not mean that you cannot take money out without penalty until 70 and a half. All that really means is at 70 and a half, or in this case, if it's raised to 75 next year or 72 this year, at that point, you will not be required to take money out until you're 75. If it's raised to 75, it's 72 now. And but the benefit of that is that it gives you more time, especially if you're not looking to live off of that money. If your goal is to leave that money behind, leave more money behind, that gives you more time to stay invested. So it's a good thing if they raise that limit. I think it's a good thing for a lot of people. For some, it's also a good thing because there's no limitations of when you take the money out. As long as they don't change the earlier you can take them out, which is 59 and a half, then you're fine. So I wouldn't worry about that. I did get some emails on that, and I wanted to address that. It only affects the required age of the IRS once you take that money out, because they want to get the tax off of it. Plain and simple. Number two with that is increasing catch-up contributions. That usually happens every year, but it only happens on like a monetary amount. I think we've been at 1,000 for maybe a year, 2 years now. Before, the catch-up contributions were only going to be like a $500 every year, not including inflation or anything like that. So supposedly that's going to change. where the additional amount you can put into the plans are going to be adjusted on an inflationary basis. So definitely look into that if that's someplace that you are interested in or following, because it'll be a benefit as well. And one of the things I like the most is that, especially for our younger folk or for some of us that still have student loan debt, including myself, if you're contributing to your 401k, if you're paying your student loans, then your company will still match your 401k. So this has been discussed, I know, for at least a year. I remember hearing about this in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2019, I believe. So if you're paying your student loans, then your company, and not contribute to your 401k, your company will actually put money in your 401k on your behalf. So it's win-win. You're paying down debt as well as receiving money towards retirement. So there's some benefits in your 401k that you may or may not be aware of. That portion has not been passed yet. I want to highlight that, but I think it's a good chance that it will be passed. For one, most of us hadn't, especially now, because most of us haven't had to pay our student loans and are not. And so to get that money back in the plans, or get that money back into that portion of our debt, I would say, that's a good way to jumpstart that. So I think that'll be passed, but we'll see what happens there. And I'll definitely keep you abreast of that, because I've been following that for a while. And those are the last things that I had in my notes today to talk about. Let's check the notes here, the comments here. Yes, Rochelle, that's a good point. A lot of companies stop matching, but what we also notice sometimes is they may still do what's called a catch up or an additional contribution if you're still contributing by year end. Now, they may not have all said that. Some companies are doing that. So they may not be matching now, but they may do like a certain percentage, a smaller percentage next year. Excuse me. So if your company did stop doing the company match, they may be able to kind of true up. It's not the same thing, but to kind of do an additional contribution next year for you, just for you participating. So I wouldn't not contribute just because of the match being gone away. So Rochelle, definitely the best route to go. Good idea. Good plan. 401k for independent contractors. We don't have a lot of time. I'll definitely, Christina, get with you on that. I know they're out there. A lot of employers don't implement that, but I believe some banking institutions do. It depends on where you work. But I know there have also been some talks in the past about different institutions offering those for employers now. I don't know if they're going to be, I don't know about the percentage of employers that are doing that. But I'll find some information, I may touch back on that next week when we go over part 2 of 401k and IRAs. So that's a good question. I'm definitely going to write that down. And let's see if I had any other questions for a wrap up here. Yep, Loretta, they raised the age last year and probably will be raising the age again over the next year or so. And that's it, guys. So as you know, I always try to stay around 30 minutes. I went over a little bit, but I thank you guys for joining. I thank you guys that are going to be watching in the replay as well. Remember, hashtag replay when you're watching so I can give you a shout out and know that you're here. And if you have any questions or additional questions that I didn't go over today, put that in the comments. I'll try to catch it next time. And as always, follow me on my website. Definitely follow us on the Building Legacies Facebook page. Like, share with as many people as you can, because this information is not information that's normally giving out. And I want to make sure that you guys get this and benefit as much as possible. So you guys have a great day. Again, I thank you for joining, and I will see you next week.